Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Hirobe Talks. This one I'm very much looking forward to and a little bit under pressure. I'm sat here with Lucinda Parish of Workfront, Adobe, and I'm also sat here with my boss and co-founder of Hirobe, Andrew Myatt.
Thank you, and thanks so much for having me on this session today. I'm Lucinda Parish. I work for Adobe. I have quite a sort of long history with Workfront. I was actually a Workfront customer. I worked for a retail bank for 18 years, and the last thing I did there was actually set up Workfront. I fell in love with it so much, I made it my career. So I then worked as a Workfront partner or consultant, and now here I am doing my dream job at Adobe, enabling all our partners, which I'll talk a bit more about, on Workfront and our other Adobe products.
I thought it'd be great to talk about content supply chain and in particular Adobe Workfront and I suppose the Adobe partnership plan as well. I suppose at a top level, Lucinda, what is Workfront? Can you give us an overview of Adobe Workfront and its sort of core functionalities?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the way I always describe Workfront is it's a perfect tool for marketing organizations and agencies, but of course other industries, business units as well. I describe it as somebody wants something doing. So somebody thinks of something and they get approval to get it done. They need to brief other people on that. So say, for example, they need to brief marketing. Marketing need to make sure it's the right thing to do, assign people to do it, get the assets or content created, get that approved and get it out of the door. You can do all of that in Workfront. So it's more than just a sort of project management or project planning tool. You can also manage resource in it. You can manage your plans. It gives you automatic reports. You can collaborate with other organizations. So really the real benefit, and as you know, I'm speaking from experience because when I was at the bank, this is why I fell in love with it, is you just do everything in one place. One of my favorite Workfront sayings is, if it isn't in Workfront, it doesn't exist. By that, we mean within that project, everything to do with that project is in there. There's channels to communicate with people. So it kind of gets rid of that kind of, sort of shared drive, email, Teams, Slack, WhatsApp, all the other channels we have. You're just putting everything all into one place. And to me, like I say, that was the real game changer.
What type of organizations are a good fit for Workfront?
So as I say, it's departments that will really benefit from it are marketing departments and agencies as well. As we know, a lot of marketing departments now have in-house agencies, so they'll have in-house creative rather than using an agency. But the scenario we had was we were using external agencies, so we could collaborate through that. So I think more than kind of which industry it works for, it's much more for kind of which department it works for. We have clients, you can imagine, from all over, automotive, financial services, retail, pharmaceutical. One of the great things about it is those heavily regulated industries, you have to have an audit trail. You have to be able to give evidence of who said what, where, when, why, how. All of that's held in Workfront.
What are the key challenges that Workfront helps organizations to overcome?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have a fantastic slide here at Adobe that we call the spaghetti slide. And what it shows is the number of people or roles involved in that process that I said, right from somebody wants something doing to it getting done, approved and out the door. You have a number of different roles, a number of different departments, and often a number of different assets as well, and a number of different platforms. So we kind of have this slide that sort of shows from start to finish it going up here, around here, this platform, this department. And then the next slide, which is so true, is very linear. So everything being done kind of through Workfront. So absolutely, I think that it is that fact that everybody knows just to go to Workfront, anything to do with that campaign, that project, just to go to Workfront. And as I say, not just marketing. So we would have, compliance, legal teams, our creative teams, all in there as well.
And we're hearing quite a lot of buzz recently, Lucinda, about Gen Studio. How does that kind of fit into the content supply chain, and kind of in particular, how does kind of it fit in with Workfront as well?
No, yeah, Gen Studio, a product that an application that we launched last year, and we now have blocks within Gen Studio, if you like. So we've launched Gen Studio for performance marketing. There'll be Gen Studio Foundations coming soon. But basically, what I kind of described is a content supply chain. So by that, again, as I sort of said, you have a piece of content that needs to be creative and approved and go out of the door. Now, Workfront manages that process for you. So in terms of, we have to look at it as kind of like a train moving along, the different stations. But there's other things that need to be done as well. So, for example, the creative would probably be done in Adobe Creative Cloud, so products such as Photoshop. And what the Gen Studio solution does is tie all these products together. So all that management you're doing through Workfront, but you can actually do everything using Adobe tools, platforms, and software. So it has an automatic connector as well, for example, to Adobe Experience Manager or AEM, where the assets will be stored. It will automatically store those assets there. So the scenario I gave was when you're creating something new, but a lot of the time things need to be updated. So it will actually go and find that asset in AEM for you, and it will bring that through to Workfront. You'll do everything, and then it will very nicely put it back in AEM as a new version on top of the previous one.
So moving on to Workfront talent, Lucinda, obviously you speak to lots of clients and work with lots of clients on a daily basis. What's your view on kind of the demand for Workfront talent right now?
Yeah, so to explain a bit about my role, I work with our partners. I enable our partners. Now, what those partners do is we make sure that they're trained up so that they have as much knowledge as we do on Workfront, which means that they are able to talk to a customer about Workfront and the value of it. And then, of course, when the customer says, yes, please, I want that, they're able to implement it for the customer and work with them throughout that ongoing relationship. Now, Adobe bought Workfront 4 years ago with exactly the vision of the content supply chain solution in mind. There's a great saying about necessity is the mother of invention. So we kind of saw that there was this thing and invented a solution. And with there being that necessity, it's absolutely blown up. We really saw that this was a need. So with that, the demand for skilled Workfront people is really high, and we have so many opportunities. I have partners coming to me saying, we need to scale up with Workfront experts. As you know, I speak to you people a lot of the time about who we've got on the Workfront books. So demand for Workfront is really high. I think it's a fantastic thing for anybody to become a Workfront expert, because what we do tend to find is once you have that under your belt, you're really in demand. So we get a lot of, like I say, people kind of approaching me, and I talk to you guys about, do you know anybody who's Workfront certified? Normally they're already in with partners and quite happy in those jobs. So we do have, I have to kind of say, no, I don't know of anybody who is available at the moment. So there's absolutely, I think that, the demand is higher than the supply at the moment.
Yeah, which is definitely kind of a trend we've seen, haven't we, Tom, over the last probably 12, 18 months. Yeah. Okay, great. That leads on quite nicely, actually. What advice, is it easy to get into Workfront, if that makes sense? So for someone maybe that has never worked with Workfront but would like to get involved, kind of how easy is it, and kind of what advice would you give to them?
Yeah, again, I mean, I can speak from my own experience here. So my background, I started life as a graphic designer. I then, how I started working for the bank was to manage the in-house studio. So the point I'm making is my background is creativity and marketing. But I am proud to be the first person who was a certified Workfront system administrator in EMEA. That was about 4 years ago. The point I'm making is I'm not from a technical background. So if I can be an expert in Workfront, pretty much anybody can. It's a very logical tool to implement. The great thing as well is we offer free training as well. So we have really good learning paths on our Adobe Experience site. And actually, if you just follow that through, you can do all that self-learning, and then you can take the exam, and then you're certified. What we do find is a lot of our partners are looking for candidates that are already Workfront certified. So it's something that I'd really recommend if it's an area that someone's looking to get into, just get certified, and then it's going to open up so many more opportunities for you.
I think that's something that we've seen, particularly from, I suppose, a recruitment standpoint, is when we're working with clients, that there is, certain companies will really hold weight to, we want candidates who are Adobe certified, whether that's Workfront or AEM or Commerce.
Yeah.
I think the certifications, they hold so much weight for professional development as well.
No, absolutely. And as I say, all the training there's no cost for any of the training. We provide it all online. We also have our Experience League site, which is where you can just go and ask. It's kind of like almost a wiki, if you like. It just has lots more information on there. Now, there is a slight cost for the exam because we use a third party to proctor it, but it's less than $100. So you can tell I work for an American company, $100. But so I would actually say the return on investment would definitely be worth it.
Cool. And we can put these links, the Experience League links and things in there.
Absolutely.
Either in the comments or at the end of the podcast.
From our perspective, as a specialist sort of Adobe partner and recruiters that purely specialize in the Adobe Experience Cloud, what do you think is the main benefit of Hirobe to your clients and even to sort of Adobe directly?
I think, I've often said this to you guys. I think what a sort of gap in the market you found. Again, that kind of necessity being the mother of invention. We really need Adobe experts, and as I say, we can help create those Adobe experts by what we've got online. But what we really need is a kind of an organization who are purely matching the best Adobe people into our partners and also our customers. We find that a lot of customers. So as I say, I was a customer, I was working at the bank and I was implementing Workfront there. So there's so many opportunities on the customer side as well. But the point being, that's where we need Hirobe, because you are able to find the right people in the first place, recognize that they're a suitable person to be trained up, support with getting them trained up, and then put these fantastic people in with our, fantastic partners and customers. So I really see it win-win-win-win. So for you, for us, for our partners, and for our customers.
No, I think we agree with that as well. It's always nice for us having that niche specialism and really being able to see the value of us supporting you and vice versa, because we live and breathe this space, which is nice. And I think, moving forward, especially with Adobe's vision for the future, how can Hirobe sort of support Adobe with the rapid growth of Workfront, sort of Gen Studio, and the Adobe Experience Cloud in general?
I think what's great about you guys is that you really understand our business and you understand our products and our portfolios as well. When I refer to portfolio, that's obviously a collection of products, if you like. So Gen Studio, for example, is one of our portfolios, and then the products underneath that. I think you also really understand what we're trying to achieve as a business and why. And when I say that, I mean very much we're working on the business to business side. That's the side that I work on. But absolutely, how can we solve these sort of bottlenecks and blockers that we face working in sort of marketing or that type of environment? It would be amiss, wouldn't it, if I wasn't to mention Gen AI? I mean, come on, these days we cannot have a conversation without mentioning Gen AI. But it's a really exciting time at Adobe because we are almost Gen AIing everything, but with relevance. We're not just putting it in for the sake of it, but one of the great tools in the content supply chain is Firefly. And of course, that's where you can say, create me an image of a cat eating an ice cream on the moon in the style of Van Gogh. Give it a couple of minutes, less than a couple of minutes, and there it is in front of you. We're finding that there's a real sort of appetite for that at the moment. Again, with Workfront projects, we're introducing Gen AI to that, so it can give you an executive summary. So, when your boss says, right, what's happening with this project? Exec summary, here you go. And I think you guys are really at the forefront of that kind of Gen AI movement as well. So you really understand where we're trying to go with that and why.
Oh, awesome. I remember it was a couple of years ago, the Adobe Summit in London, being having my mind blown by the Firefly demo, where they sort of said, a workload that would take usually 8 hours. Here you go, I'll just type this in, and there it was on the screen. It was mind blowing and great to see.
I think, and one of the things we really believe is, obviously, I think that the fear's dying down a little bit, but people worrying that Gen AI is going to take over your jobs. And I read something that said Gen AI won't take over your job. It's sort of the people who don't know Gen AI. So we really have to kind of embrace it. I was going to say whether we like it or not, but why wouldn't we like it? So I think, absolutely, Gen AI is there to support you. We often say it's there to do the donkey work, so you can actually do the thinking, do the creative. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be an exciting year, definitely.
Awesome. It was an absolute pleasure doing this podcast. I think obviously we love the work with Adobe. A lot of pressure for me being on a podcast with my boss there. So hopefully I've still got a job next time we speak, Lucinda.
I think you might have.
Thank you both so much for your time. I know you're both very, very, very busy people.
No worries.
Whether
Thanks,
it's
Tom. Thanks, Lucinda.
Pleasure. Thank you. Good to see you both.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.